So the last thing is actually two things, but they're very related. Now that we talked about over underpayments and all that, let's talk about memorized reports and report groups. This is the last tip or trick. Some of you may have learned some of this from the live 2-day class if you attended that. I know some of you may not have attended that at all. And if you haven't, you can always check out our recorded version of it, which is Mastering QuickBooks Online Level 1. But if I go over here to reports, if you build a report that you like and you want to run it over and over and over again, you can save the customizations that you make to that report. But on top of that, you can also have QuickBooks email that report out to you on a regular basis. And so that's why people often memorize reports. So I'm going to set up a couple of reports here that we might want to get on a regular basis, like for instance, a profit and loss report. What a lot of people like to get is an automated profit and loss and balance sheet every month for the previous month. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to change my date range right up here to last month. And the reason why this is so important and changing this report period is so important is that what we want is a profit and loss for the last month, right? And we want to get that every month. So it's important for us to choose the date range that we want to see in the future, right? Next month, when I get this report, I want to see it for last month, which will be June. It's kind of a crazy way to think about it, but it works, right? So we always want to see last month. I'm going to rename this report last month's profit and loss, okay? And of course, make all of my other changes if there are any. Once we're done, we'll save the customization. And I'm going to say, I want this report to be sent out to me every month, but I also want a couple of other reports to be sent out to me every month as well. So the best way to resolve that is to create a group. So I'm going to add a new group called monthly reports. And I'm going to add that in, and I'll show you what that does in a moment. So we've got our last month's profit and loss. I'm also going to set up a balance sheet because at the beginning of the month, I also want to see the balance sheet for that day. So today's balance sheet. So I'm just going to set it up for today. We'll name this today's balance sheet. Because unlike the profit and loss report, the balance sheet shows you one date and time, so it doesn't really show performance. So having it go back to another date doesn't really help. So we'll put in monthly reports. All right. Now, once you save those reports that you want to see on a regular basis, you can then go into custom reports. And notice here how I have monthly reports and they're all sort of grouped together. Now, normally, if you don't use report groups, you can go in here and you can edit these. And you can set up a schedule for them to be automatically sent to you. But when you use groups like this one, I can go in here and I can edit this, and I can set up the email schedule for every report that's in that group. So if I turn this on, I can then choose monthly, every 1 month. I can put in the email address right in here. Jason.com doesn't exist, or if it does, it's not from me. And by the way, you can send this to multiple people. You just have to separate their names or their email addresses with commas. And then every 1 month. Now, here's the tricky thing. So you might think to yourself, oh, if it's a monthly report, then I want to get it on the 1st of every month. Don't do that. Because sometimes the 1st of the month is on a Saturday or a Sunday. And you may not have recorded all of the transactions that actually happened in the previous month. So you want to give yourself a little grace period there. I always program QuickBooks to send out monthly reports on the 4th or the 5th of the month to give you a little bit of time for the data entry. So I would actually send this out on the 4th or the 5th. I'm going to choose the 5th because I'm lazy. And so, I am sometimes. So now I'm going to save and close this. Oh no, wait, I don't want this to ever end, but I can choose for it to end by a certain date or after no recurrence, so I'm not gonna do that. We'll save and close this. And now we get those reports every month. they'll be sent to us in a single email too. So they're all grouped together in a single email, so we don't get spammed with a whole bunch of different emails. So that's it. That's the last tip or trick. It's a lot of stuff, right? It's like drinking from a fire hose. But just like Cheryl and Adriana wrote, you're going to have recordings of this, so you can rewatch it as much as you want to. And Joan wrote, will the balance sheet be 5 days after month's end? Yes. So that was why I set up that balance sheet to be today's balance sheet. So I actually chose the date range of today. So what'll happen is you'll actually get the balance sheet for whatever day it's sent out on, which is really what you want most of the time. You don't really want the balance sheet for a previous day because it's showing you one moment in time, right? So it's actually going to send me the balance sheet for the 5th, which is the day I get the report, which is really what you want. Unless you want the one from 5 days ago, which you could actually do. Because if you choose a custom date and you put in the date 5 days ago, QuickBooks will actually remember that whenever you save the customizations, and it'll do that every month instead.